Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm going to get right down to it. I do hope that you're all well, and thank you for being with me. We are on Chapter 5 of Wayside Stories, Todd. Todd, I said this before, but Todd looks like someone that I could be friends with. He has that real, smart look about him, and here it looks as though he's trying to outsmart some crooks, but I don't really know. Let's read to find out what has happened. Chapter 5, Todd. All of the children in Mrs. Jewell's class, except Todd, were talking and carrying on. Todd was thinking. Todd always thought before he spoke. When he got an idea, his eyes lit up. I've seen that from a lot of you in class. Your eyes really light up when you get great ideas. Todd finished thinking and began to speak. But before he said 2 words, Mrs. Jewell called him. Todd, she said, you know better than to talk in class. You must learn to work quietly, like the other children. She wrote his name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Todd looked around in amazement. All the other children who had been talking and screaming and fighting only seconds earlier were quietly working in their workbooks. Todd scratched his head. A child was given 3 chances in Mrs. Jewell's class. The first time he did something wrong, Mrs. Jewell wrote his name on the blackboard under the word discipline. The second time he did something wrong, she put a check next to his name. And the third time he did something wrong, she circled his name. Todd reached into his desk and pulled out his workbook. He had only just started on it when he felt someone tap him on the shoulder. It was Joy. What page are you on? Joy asked. Page 4, Todd whispered. I'm on page 11, said Joy. Todd didn't say anything. He didn't want to get in trouble. He just went back to work. 5 minutes later, Joy tapped him again. Todd ignored her. So Joy poked him in the back with her pencil. Todd pretended he didn't notice. That reminds me of behaviors that I see sometimes in class. Sometimes some of you are so laser focused on what you're supposed to be doing. And then there are other people who want to take your attention, but you're so committed to doing your work. I feel like you could connect with how Todd is feeling right now. Okay, so I'm right here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Actually, right here. So Joy poked him in the back with her pencil. Todd pretended he didn't notice. Joy got up from her seat and sharpened her pencil. She came back and poked it. Turn the page. In Todd's back. Todd has more patience than I do. I think at this point I would have said something. What page are you on? She asked. Page 5, Todd answered. Boy, are you dumb, said Joy. I'm on page 29. That's awful, Joy. It isn't a race, Todd whispered. Way to go, Todd. 5 minutes later, Joy pulled Todd's hair and didn't let go until he turned around. Todd, you have to let an adult know. What page are you on? She demanded. Page 6, Todd answered as quietly as she could. I'm on page 200, Joy shouted. Why isn't the teacher saying anything to Joy? Todd was very angry. Will you please let me do my work and stop bothering me? Good job, Todd, Mrs. Jules heard him. Todd, what did I say about talking in class? Todd scratched his head. Mrs. Jules put a check next to Todd's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Have some of you felt like Todd before? You felt like someone else should have received a consequence for their behavior and the teacher didn't catch them? I know some of you have felt like Todd, and I'm sorry for that. So we're right here. Todd really tried to be good. He knew that if he talked one more time, Mrs. Jules would circle his name. Then he'd have to go home early at 12 o'clock on the kindergarten bus, just as he had the day before and the day before that. In fact, there hadn't been a day since Mrs. Jules took over the class that she didn't send Todd home early. Aww. She said she did it for his own good. The other children went home at 2 o'clock. Todd wasn't really bad. He just always got caught. He really wanted to stay past 12 o'clock. He wanted to find out what the class did from 12 to 2. But it didn't look as though he was going to this day. It was only 10:30, and he already had 2 strikes against him. He sealed his lips and went back to work. There was a knock on the door. Mrs. Jules opened it. 2 men stepped in wearing masks and holding guns. "Give us all your money," they demanded. "All I have is a nickel," said Mrs. Jules. "I have a dime," said Maricia. "I have 13 cents, said Leslie. "I have 4 cents, said Damien. "What kind of a bank is this?" asked one of the robbers. "It's not a bank, it's a school," said Todd. "Can't you read?" "No," said the robbers. "Neither can I," said Todd. "Do you mean we walked all the way up 30 flights of stairs for nothing?" asked the robber. "Don't you have anything valuable?" Todd's eyes lit up. Remember, they light up when he's thinking. "We sure do," he said. "We have knowledge." He grabbed Joy's workbook and gave it to the robbers. Knowledge is much more valuable than money. "Thanks, kid," said one of the robbers. "Maybe I'll give up being a criminal and become a scientist," said the other. They left the room without hurting anybody. Yay, Todd! Turn the page. "Now I don't have a workbook," complained Joy. Mrs. Jules gave her a new one. Joy had to start all the way back at the beginning. "Hey, Joy, what page are you on?" asked Todd. "Page 1, Joy sighed. "I'm on page 8, laughed Todd triumphantly. Triumphant means that he was like rejoicing in a success. Mrs. Jules heard him. She circled his name. Todd had 3 strikes against him. At 12 o'clock, he left the room to go home early on the kindergarten bus. But this time when he left, he was like a star baseball player leaving the field. All the children stood up, clapped their hands, and whistled. Todd scratched his head. I think my favorite character so far is Todd. He's a good kid, and he helped everyone out when help was needed. He just had bad luck getting caught all the time, and I think Mrs. Jules isn't being very fair to him. Maybe she looks at him like a troublemaker. That's not a good thing to do. I'm really excited to meet other characters with you. I'd love to know who your favorite character is so far. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Oh, I forgot to tell you what we're reading next. The next time we meet, we will read Chapter 6, BB. Look at how the illustrator really does a great job capturing the personality in a person's face. I think you can tell a lot about a person's personality when you look at their expressions. And to me, BB looks very ambitious. It looks like she has a lot of drive and a lot of passion, and it looks like she's an ambitious artist. I can see she's wearing this little French cap, and she dresses as I would imagine an artist to dress, even though I know there are a lot of different ways that an artist can dress. All right, we will see you later. Goodbye.